Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to FTB Interactions. So we're picking back up today where we left off. We're going to continue working on our ore processing system and getting that set up. Now, I do want to point out, just as a note again, when I talk about this episode, because I know I do a couple times, when I talk about going for the mana chicken, just completely ignore me. Just completely ignore me because we cannot craft this right now. Not until we go into space and stuff, so... just as a heads up side note sort of thing. Now, the next thing I want to do, I want to handle the weird stuff that comes up. Okay, for example, a couple weird things. First up, we have netherrack dust. And another thing that we have is aluminum dust. And I'm going to want some more aluminum dust, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and set up our green sapphire. We'll just come in. Let me go ahead and just throw this in, get this starting to run a little bit. And let me grab that. I'm just going to add that in. Okay, now we're starting to produce some aluminum. And then let me slot in that. Make sure and hit this button each time, otherwise you may get some random things coming in because it's all being ran through the same, the same line. And then down here, I want to go ahead and add in our tiny piles of aluminum and our netherrack. Okay, and we're making sapphire dust also. And then green sapphire is going to go into the autoclave. So we'll go ahead and send it there. Now, you can also, of course, electrolyze it, get aluminum. That's great. But we're going to be automating aluminum just with clay in an upcoming episode. So we're not going to bother with that. So we're going to start getting green sapphires over here. Awesome. I think last time around, I just sent them out as dust and left them as so. But, I mean, if you take a look, you can literally break this down in 1.5 seconds. At ULV, of course it gets faster with higher tiers. It's not really worth it to me to store that in dust form, but that's just me. Okay, so we're getting aluminum building up. Now right now we are going to add in an additional thing, and let's actually go ahead and do that real quick. Inside of here I've got a tier 2 storage module. Let me go ahead and grab that. Okay, there's our modular storage. Let me go ahead and grab that. And I do quickly want to mention that after last episode, I went ahead and I grinded up to get to level 16 in our Astral Sorcery perks. And that was really so. I did get the Phoenix Blessing, but I came over here and I snagged Bigger Stomach. So I pretty much never have to eat. I haven't ate in like hours, like real lifetime. In literal hours. And my hunger is just hanging out. I mean, I'll probably have to eat here pretty soon. I'm going to go ahead and just eat something. But I don't have to eat so much. And I'm going to go ahead and upgrade that chest. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to set up a modular storage here. And I don't want it to connect there because that's a temporary cable line. But we're going to put in our tier 2 storage module. And what we're going to do with this, pop around back here, we're going to say that you can insert on green, but it's going to be a low priority. Yeah, we're going to say you can insert on green. It's going to be a priority of -10. And we're going to say that you can also extract on green. No self-feeding. Make sure that that's on. And that way, if we have any overflow, it'll go into this chest, and then it'll get cycled whenever it has a place that it can go. Because right now, I've got a lot of tiny piles that have built up. Now, once it's consistently running, that shouldn't be a problem too much. But just in case, we do have a buffer, and we can add more buffers to this. Now, one thing I am going to do, since I'm going to do that, I'm going to say that you extract on the, I don't think I'm using the black channel. No. So we're going to have the black channel be our first extraction point. So the ore multiplier and macerator lines, these are going to change to the black line, which does also mean we're going to have to change the centrifuge to extract on black also, or I mean the electric furnace that's coming from the chemical reactor chemical bath combo. So that way it's not going to feed ores into this. It's going to make sure that they're going where they need to go, so it doesn't overfill with ores, because I just want it to be an overflow for dust and things like that, so they do have a place without just clogging up machines and slowing everything down. Okay, so now that that's in place, what we're going to do, we're going to set up another machine. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, let me go over here. We're not going to set this up till next episode, but let me grab our cutting machine. and we're going to move this over. So we're not going to run it just yet, but we are going to go ahead and move it over. We're going to set it up right there. It's going to be getting water, but we're going to disable that. And we're going to set the extraction line for this to orange. And I'm going to go ahead and write that down. I'm going to say always active. We're not going to do round robin on this. And let me just pull this up to get rid of the water that's in here. So there we go. And we'll just leave that alone for the time being. We'll come back to that, like I said, next episode. Alright, so what we're going to do, let me go ahead and throw that netherrack dust in there. I'll throw that into there. We're going to set up another machine, and it's going to be setting right over here. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a chest that sits right here. And we are going to bring down a conduit line to that. Gold chest should be fine for us. We're going to pop over to our tiny dust line. We're going to change the extraction on this to magenta. And we're going to say that you can extract always active. No round robin. It doesn't matter if we have it on, but no point in it. And on this gold chest, we're going to say that you can insert on magenta. Alright, so what's going to happen is it's going to start getting all those dusts. And it's going to start pulling from there, and it should, here in a minute, whenever it gets to the aluminum, it should pull, starts pulling the stuff out of the modular storage for us. Yeah, you can see it's battling back and forth because this is getting pulled out now because it's just a buffer that sits in the middle of everything. I think last time I had overflow storage for each individual line, but I think I like just the one individual, and then we can scale it out as we need. Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm going to make a new machine, and we're going to make a packager. We're just going to make an advanced packager, this right here, and I need silver and an MV conveyor module. Okay, give me just a second to get this thrown together. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to set up our packager right here. But I think last time we had it plugged up directly to the memory chest maybe, but we're going to change things up a little bit here. And we've got this kind of buffer chest that hangs out back here. And what we're going to do, we're going to take an MV robot arm, and we're going to install it right there. And then if we click on this, we're going to go in and, oh yeah, let me grab, I was running some more olivine because I knew I was going to need that. Let me get that compressed real quick, and then let me saw it to get some plates. And then we're going to grab ourselves an ore dictionary filter. So let's open this up, pop in our ore dictionary filter, and we're going to set this to supply exact. We want you to supply exactly 9 items. No more, no less. So it's going to check the chest, and it's going to say, do you have 9? Which really, actually, for this, we don't need the ore dictionary filter. I don't think it's going to matter for us. So we're going to say mode import. And I also have to get a program circuit. Let me go grab that real quick. And we're going to pop this into here, and it's going to start packaging our dust for us. Let's throw that back in. And you'll notice that it won't ever get anything that's not, a multiplier of 9. So we don't have to worry about those tiny dusts or anything at this point. So then we're just going to say extract is on green, always active. So it's going to start pulling those out. And then pyrope, it'll be going into the buffer. Let's go ahead and grab a little bit of this because we're not doing anything with it just yet. But pyrope, I believe this is just going to be an electrolyzer dust, which we're going to get into that later. But I don't really see any need for pyrope. So what we're going to do in that case, let me throw it back in there. I'm going to make another memory chest. We'll get into that in just a minute. But like lead dust, I want to grab that. Also aluminum, I want to grab that. Sapphire, and the netherrack, and magnesium. Okay, so what we're going to do, let me go order some circuits so I can make that memory chest here in just a minute. And we'll need a gold chest, but I'm just going to steal one because we're basically done with our old ore processing system at this point. So let me just order that. And by the way, worth mentioning, you can see right here, we've got our crafting modules. I've got these set off to the side because they're not going to stay in here long term, because right now I've got soldering alloy in here, but I don't think this is going to be the assembling machine that is supplied with the soldering alloy. So that's just kind of a temporary thing. Though, you know what? Since we've got the buffer, let me just order a couple filters. Or better yet, let me just steal the filters from this. Because these all have advanced item filters. And let me just clear these. And we're not gonna need another memory chest for this. We'll leave that open for maybe another tiny dust or something like that. And we do have this memory chest too, actually. But what we're going to do, our centrifuge that's right here. Right now we're not doing anything with this. We are going to just add a filter to this. We're going to say it's going to be on the insert, and you're going to filter netherrack dust, whitelist, and you can extract on green, always active, and we're going to say insert. Okay. Now, if I was to throw our netherrack dust back in there, it's going to get pulled out to the centrifuge. It's going to go in here. It's going to start breaking this down, and it's going to make us tiny piles of redstone, gold. It's going to make us sulfur, coal, redstone, and gold from that netherrack. Because there's really no other good use for this netherrack dust. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to add another filter, and this is going to be on our blast furnace. And so we're going to say that this is the input bus. We're going to say that you can insert over here. But you're only going to be able to insert aluminum dust. And if I want to add other things, I can do that. But we're going to go ahead and say insert. And then over here, we're going to extract it on our extraction line, which is the white line. And so then if I throw our aluminum dust back into the buffer, that's going to get sent over here, and it's going to start running that aluminum for us and turning that into ingots, so we won't have to worry about aluminum and having to manually handle that anymore. We can make magnesium ingots. Okay, so for magnesium, we're just going to add this into here, and then also lead, add that into there. Okay, and then we're left with some of this weird stuff, which I do need to go ahead and put these into the tiny pile buffers. We'll just toss all those in there. And then our last memory chest, what we're going to use this for is we are going to set up the other stuff. So for example, pyrope, we don't do any of this stuff with it. It's basically going to be an electrolyzed material, I do believe. Sulfur, we're not going to make sulfur ingots. We're not going to run that through the autoclave or anything like that. So in the case of something like sulfur, pyrope, also we're going to be getting redstone from the advanced packager. You do 4 for sulfur on these. So in that case, let me hold on to these for just a moment. I'll handle these in just a second. So it's just sulfur right now. If stuff like that comes up, we'll handle that a little bit differently. But what we're going to do is we're going to have this memory chest that's set up here. And we are going to say, you're going to be able to insert on the green channel. Let me go ahead and lock this in. Pyrope and sulfur. And we're going to say that you can insert on the green line. And then extraction is going to be straight onto the white line. And so that way they'll just get sent into this output chest because they're special case stuff and we don't need to do anything else with them. Redstone will fall into that same category. And we'll just say special case out on there. And now as far as the sulfur goes, what I'm probably going to do is just set up a special case packager. And actually let me pop over and we are going to set up over here an item filter, and we're going to say this is going to be a blacklist. Don't move small piles of sulfur. Now right now I know it doesn't show the, oh there it is, it wasn't showing the 9, but we're going to say blacklist, no small piles of sulfur, I don't want those in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up a packager just back in here that feeds off the same chest. I don't think it's going to go on this wall, and that's mainly for space and because it's really not a machine that's going to be running all that often anyways. So we're going to set it up there. Let me go get a filter real quick. But for this, we're just going to use an LV robot arm. And we'll just put it right on there. And we're going to say that you're going to have an item filter. Okay, supply exact 4. It does 8 items a second. And the reason that we do the MV ones, oh, they actually made it so the LV ones can do 9. Used to, the LV ones wouldn't do 9. Back when we set it up before, you know, the LV ones couldn't do 9. So I guess we could just go with LV robotic arms. But anyways, we're going to be doing sulfur and import. And we're going to set this to configuration 2. Going to pop that in there. And then if I was to throw in sulfur into this, it's going to start pulling it out and turning it into sulfur dust. And then what we'll do is just put a conduit there. Extract is always active. So the sulfur is taken care of at this point. But what I want to do, just really quick, first up I want to show you now what we can do is we can come over and take these chests that I was having to manually compress by hand. There is a small pile of ruby dust. This was actually from whenever we lathed our ruby lens. So I'm just gonna, I hate to just dump it in here, but I'm just gonna dump it in here. We're gonna set something up later just to deal with all the excess dust from our system that just kind of happened to come in from different things. We're gonna deal with that. But now what I can do is I can bring over our gold chests. And this is the case for anything. If I happen to come across and be holding some random dust from somewhere, or some tiny piles or something like that, I can just chuck them into this buffer and be done with them. Now, actually, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Our robot arm that's handling the sulfur and stuff, we're going to put it in an ore dictionary filter. And let's look at the sulfur dust real quick. And what we'll do is we'll just use that gold chest for all of our dusts. So sulfur dust, these are classified as dust small. So what we'll do is we're just going to set in our ore dictionary filter. We're going to say supply exact 4, and we are going to say dust small and then a star, which means any. You can accept any small dust, and that way we don't have to worry about it. And if we throw in ruby dust, that's fine. It can go in and get handled by this system. And we're also going to say import. So you can take 4 of any small dust, and then you set that to export for just a moment. You can take ore dictionary filter. We're going to say dust tiny star, and you're doing 9, and set it back to import. And now it's still going to be taking all the tiny dust just like it was, but we don't have to worry about filtering it as we go. And if we do run into small dust, or if we want to dump small dust into this system, that's fine. This packager can handle it. That's hidden back here off that same chest. And we don't have to change anything else on that. So yay, that's done. But what I can do is I can bring chests over here that are filled up with junk, and I can just say extract always active, and they're going to start pulling into, well, once I set it to insert, there you go. And let me go ahead and get speed upgrades, because we do have a bit over here. And for right now, we're just going to dump these in on that. And I also want to just go ahead, just for future's sake, I want to go ahead and dump 15 speed upgrades in this, just so it'll be able to move this stuff quicker. Now I am still going to have to add all this stuff to the filter, and I'll do that here in a second, just off camera, just going through and putting it in the correct chest that it needs to go into, because we're done with that, and we never have to manually compress things ever again. Now there is one additional thing that I'd like to do, because right now we're not automatically moving liquid starlight over. We have 93 buckets, that's great, but we are eventually going to run out, and we need it for this, and we need it for the autoclave as well. We are about to have a server restart. That's alright. Let me go grab, in here I had some purified diamonds. Let me just grab that out. And we can just dump this into the sifting machine, let this start running. It's going to take a little bit, but there is a chance that we are going to get additional types of diamonds, and that's what I want to get. Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and get another sifter for this system. So what we're going to do, what I actually need is flawless diamonds. Really just one of them would be fine, but let me go ahead and grab out. You can see we got 1 exquisite diamond so far. And we got a quest complete for flawless diamonds. And we get 4 more flawless diamonds. Awesome. And I'm just going to put all that into there for right now. I'm going to have to handle all this, but it's not going to be too difficult. And what we're going to do, the line that would normally pump in the purified stuff, normally it would go into our forge hammer. I'm going to remove everything but silver from this. And I'm going to go make another memory chest. Actually, another 2 memory chests. We're going to need both of those. And I was thinking about having them just as a higher priority, so if there's overflow, then it's just going to keep going through with the forge hammer. But no, I think we're just going to run them all through the sifter and get all of our gems, everything that can be sifted. So, but what we're going to do, first of all, let me go ahead and get just one of these flawless diamonds. And we're going to go ahead and turn it into a mana diamond, which is going to complete a quest, and we're going to get a gem refiner blueprint and a laser. But we're going to go ahead and set up 2 more memory chests. I'm totally out of space on memory chests. 2 more memory chests, and we're going to have these set up. Yeah, let's do it. I don't think I'm going to need more space in that modular storage for the buffer, and if I do, I'll make space, you know. So what we're going to do is we're going to say this bottom one is going to be the one that actually feeds into the sifters. And so we're going to say, let me go ahead and lock all this in, which it does mean I'm going to have to build more caches because I'm going to store all these diamonds and stuff, but that's okay. That's fine. We're going to put in purified diamond, and we're going to say that you are going to insert on the yellow line. So we're going to, I'm sorry, not insert, it'll be extract. You're going to extract on the yellow round robin, always active. And then what we're going to do is the sifters, we're going to insert on yellow with them, and we're going to be extracting just on the green line. Even though we do have finished products that come from the sifters, we're not going to be treating them as such initially, because we don't want to have to filter all those products. And then we're just going to pop up and do the same thing up here. And we'll put a sign here that says sifters. And then the last thing that we're going to have is something called sifter out. And what we're going to do is in the sifter outline, let me go ahead and lock these again. Last time this episode. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the flawless diamonds, the exquisite diamond, the flawed diamond, chip diamond, and the regular diamonds. Not the purified piles. The purified piles, we're going to go ahead and slot them in because they'll need to be centrifuged, make the diamond dust, get the byproduct, and then that's going to get autoclaved to make our diamonds. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this into this chest here, so it can just get thrown in here. Okay, yeah, there was just a purified pile. The diamond got extracted, and chances are, yeah, it went into here. And we also have diamond dust in here, which I need to slot into the autoclave. So we're still going to be getting autoclaved diamond and autoclaved all these things. We're just not going to be wasting them on the forge hammer step. Now inside of this chest, we're going to add diamonds, chip diamonds, flawed diamonds, exquisite diamonds, and flawless diamonds. And the reason we're doing this is so that it kind of filters it and says, okay, these are finished products. Which, I mean, really, we could. There's not much use for this stuff, so really we could send it then into a pulverizer. If we added another memory chest. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I want the flawless diamonds. I want the exquisite diamonds. I don't really need the flawed diamonds or the chip diamonds because they're basically garbage. So let's pull these out, and we're going to do something special with those. And I've got the stuff ordered for another batch of memory chests. We're going to make one more memory chest. But what we're going to do here, as far as getting our mana diamond, we're going to get back to that while we're waiting for those circuits and stuff to finish. What I want to do is I want to make my very favorite item transfer system in the game, item and fluid transfer system. If you recall, my entire Sevtech base was based entirely off of this. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit with it this episode before we finish out. I know this episode's long. Like I said, it's going to be 2 parts, but we have set up a massive system to manage all of our ores and stuff intelligently too. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a master routing node. There's that, and we get a quest complete from that. Let's go ahead and open this up because I think there's some quests in here. We get 3 XP levels. Oh, that's good. I can enchant a cache with that. And over here, I ran this earlier, like a long time ago actually. Before we even came back, I believe, from recording, or from my sleep. Let me go ahead and get us a little bit of this glowing glass. And then I'm also going to need a redstone reception coil. And I'm going to need a transmission coil. I'm going to have to run some silver. Okay, so there's that. And by the way, you will need pig iron for this. That's just made in the blood altar. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and run 2 of these. 2 crafts of these. It's going to make us 8 routing nodes. Because we're going to be using these a bit in the coming episodes. So, just for kind of odd and end stuff. We're going to be using logic pipes for most things. But for some of this odd and end stuff. I made that. I didn't pick it up though. And we got a quest complete from that one. This one will also complete a quest. And from the quest, we're going to get 4 filters. And then there is our other one. And we're going to get 4 more filters. And then we've got to make a node router also. And these filters I'm just going to dump in here. We're not going to be using those today. So, and there's our node router. Okay, so that's the last quest related to. There's no reward for that one, but that's the last quest related to these. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, run mana steel screws with steel gears together, just in the alloy smelter, and that's going to make us some frame parts. And then we're going to take these frame parts and we're going to make a couple fluid filters. And then we're going to come over, we're going to set up a master routing node. And this master routing node is going to be setting here. And then we're going to do an input node that's going to be setting here. And we're going to say on the downside, we're going to put in a fluid filter right there. And we're going to grab a bucket of this liquid starlight and we're going to put this into that fluid filter. And then we're just going to grab this connection, shift right click, and then right click over on this. And you're going to see there's a line that runs across here. So it's now inputting liquid starlight. And then we're going to come over to this iron drum. And I'm going to put in a output routing node that sits right here. Don't want that to connect. And for this one, we're going to say on the downside, fluid filter, and we're going to say liquid starlight. Right click, there we go, link node to master, it's showing the line, and if we come over and we take a look here, our iron drum is starting to fill up with liquid starlight. Awesome. So now that's being fed over and I don't have to run a messy conduit line over for just feeding in that one bucket, right? And then if I ever need liquid starlight, I can just connect it to that line. But I will say it's best if you keep your connections using liquids. It's best if you keep your connections to a minimum. Don't overuse them because sometimes you'll run into some issues because, I don't know, I think it has to do with priority. And if it's missing a millibucket somewhere, it tries to send there, and sometimes it doesn't send. It doesn't send to other spots or something. And also, don't try to move multiple different fluids on the same line. It tends to act up then too. Or at least it did. I haven't tested it in a little while, a few months, but so that's being fed over. Now let me go get my memory chest, and this is going to be the last thing we're doing today. I know these 2 episodes are going to be a bit on the longer side, but it is what it is. Okay, so there's our memory cards. I'm going to go ahead and just make 3 memory chests. Alright, so what we're going to do, we have the output basically, and we're going to add in, and this is, by the way, this is just going to feed into the white line. I'll go ahead and set that up real quick. So this line can insert, and it can extract on the white line. So that way it just goes straight to output, because we don't need to do anything else with it. It just needs to go up to here. There we go. And so diamonds, exquisite diamonds, flawless diamonds, all that good stuff is going where it needs to go. Looks like our sifters did finish up, so that's good. Yeah, we ended up with 14 flawless diamonds, 58 diamonds, and 2 exquisite diamonds. Alright, so we're going to set it up over here, I think. And we're going to call it Sifter Junk. I'm just going to be brutally honest with it. And we're going to run our item conduit line over, and this will be for if we want to set up more memory chests, because we may find that we need more. We're going to set them up over here. But we're going to say that you, wait, before I do that, we're going to lock this in, and this will be the last one we set up this episode. Alright, so we're going to lock that in. There we go. And we're going to say that you can insert on green. So it's going to send those over. So this is what we've got. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say that you can extract, and it's going to be on the blue line. If you recall, that's the same line that our macerator runs. Now technically we could have sent it over to the macerator input, but this is going to fill up really, really quick, this memory chest is. So I'd rather have a separate chest that just handles the junk from our system. And I think it breaks down pretty quick. And if we take a look inside of our buffer, we have 48 small piles of diamond dust. If we take a look here, this pulverized, yeah, 0.35 seconds, 0.75 seconds for these. So running it through this macerator, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. And then what we're going to do is over here in the tiny dust line, we are going to, let's lock it, unlock that. We're going to dump in our small pile of diamond dust and allow it to send over to this chest. Now it's going to get grabbed by this packager and turned into actual diamond dust almost immediately, which is then going to come over and go into our autoclave, make diamonds, which are then going to go into our output. And there we go. So now we're sifting, getting the good stuff, trashing the rest automatically, and just remaking, you know, the actual output from it. So yay. That is set up now. Okay, it's actually been a few days since the last cut, and I've actually started recording the next episode. We've been working on some things that basically allowed for me to finish off the ore processing, but I wanted to show you the finalized. I mean, you're not going to see anything that really that's not already set up. We are moving oxygen. We're going to talk about this next episode, but we are moving a little bit of oxygen over here just so I can run cobalt. Back over here is stuff that's going to be electrolyzed that doesn't really have much use beyond that. Rare earth, we can make rare earth with it, but we don't need much of that, so most of it's going to get electrolyzed. So we're setting up a little electrolyzing area, or basically a spot for dust that are going to be electrolyzed. But I wanted to show you, now that the system is up and running, I actually dumped a bunch of stuff in here, and been running this stuff for a little bit. You may have noticed this packager, and there's actually that sign is for nuggets, but we're not actually going to be using that. I set it up, I cut out the footage because it was obsolete. We're not going to be using it. And the reason being, our system, I don't think, is going to be producing any nuggets with the way that we're going to be running stuff, because we're going to, like stuff like malachite and whatnot. If we pull this up, just want to mention this real quick. If we get malachite ore, we chemical bath that just into dense copper and run that instead of messing with the malachite itself. And the byproducts in the case of something like malachite, if anything does produce things that smelt down into nuggets, we can electrolyze it. For example, the malachite dust, we can electrolyze it and get copper and carbon, as well as hydrogen and oxygen. So we're not actually going to be producing any nuggets within our system. So we're not going to be messing with that packager. So just a heads up, that's what that was, if you were wondering. But yeah, this has been running good. And I wanted to show you because I did finally get the output plugged up. And so it's pulling down through here, and it is going over into here. I have been very busy, and you'll understand next episode how I'm managing to enchant all these caches, because all these are enchanted. They're not upgraded, but they are enchanted, so they all hold like 70 to 90,000 items or something like that in them. And then down the road we may upgrade the size, and then we have to re-enchant. I did discover that if you upgrade, it removes the enchant, which is unfortunate, but it's not a big deal because by that time we should be able to put a better holding enchant on it anyways. Now I will say that some of these, like these crystals here that come off of Terra, also some of the lapis crystals and some of the other crystals or gems, the flawless and exquisites, they don't actually do anything, so we could have just broken them down in the macerator, but I decided to keep them because of the fact that if we reach a point where I guess we've produced enough exquisite gems and flawless gems and things that it really matters, we're going to be swimming in the stuff anyways probably, and it's just kind of like a, oh, I have lots of gems sort of thing. They're just kind of cool to have, you know. So we're going to be storing all of these, just not the chipped and the flawed because they are garbage. So we're tossing all those, but we're keeping all the rest of the stuff. And once we get this room or the gems and stuff kind of ran through and have a good variety, I'm actually going to move things around. So probably the top 2 lines are going to be ingots and the bottom 3 are going to be gems, or maybe the top 3 are going to be gems and then the bottom ones will be ingots, something like that. So we have a lot of stuff. We actually have now 6,754 redstone. It was just a few episodes ago where I was running out of redstone. We have 2,475 copper, which I had like barely any before. We actually ran out of gold. I can't remember if it was this episode or part of the next episode that I ran out of gold. It was one of them. It was next episode. Yeah. I actually at one point had no gold to my name, but now we have 744 gold. So yeah, we're building back up on materials now, and our ore processing system is all to thanks for that. So I am quite happy. Yeah, that's zinc. But yeah, so I just wanted to update you guys, show you the system kind of running. You can see the items being sent down through our logistics pipe system down through here, and it just gives the base a whole lot more motion. And of course, as we speed things up, more and more items will be flowing through here. I did put in 15 item extraction upgrades. Probably overkill at the moment, but maybe long term it'll be important to have a bit more of those. So, and if you want to see the chest, now that I've kind of populated things, we have a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's my, and I haven't ran any of these like since I've been running all this, but we have a lot of things getting populated. Now the dust pile is probably going to have to get a second chest here soon, but that's because, well, because there's a lot of dust and because we're running the small dust and the tiny dust together with this setup. I know the last time around we ran them separately, but this time around we are running them together. This is actually, I was adding things and I needed somewhere to throw that because we don't have a line, a feed-in line that feeds directly on the black line. So, and then over here we have gems. Macerator's tied up at the moment. I'm kind of debating about adding another macerator, but we'll see. We shall see. So, but yeah, it's just been kicking away. It's been not too bad. It's not like overly fast, like it doesn't just eat through ores, but I just have a huge backlog. Once it's caught up, whenever I go mining, I dump it in there. It's not going to be too bad. And I mean, realistically, you can see stuff being pumped out pretty regularly from here. It's just there's a lot that we're running. Absolute ton of stuff that we are running through this at the moment. So, but yeah, so anyways, I am going to end out this episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. Next episode, we're working on a lot of smaller sort of projects, just a bunch of them, mainly related to chemistry side of things, the chemistry side of Greg Tech. Also just kind of miscellaneous things that just make my life easier. The first few things are kind of things that'll help me get this ore processing system up and going, being able to enchant lots of caches and things like that. Also, I do want to mention just really quick, I did automate a few different logistics pipes for us, and if you're wondering about how I automated those, just as a heads up, because they are a little bit different, I've got a logistics programmer just put into the crafting table here. So in this case, it's crafting logistics pipe programmer with the recipe, as you might expect. But if we come back here, this one is for the Mark 1 chassis. We've got the logistics programmer in there, and you can see that in the recipe I don't call for a logistics programmer because it doesn't get pulled out It doesn't need to get imported into here whenever it sends it to craft the recipe, so just remove that from your input and you'll be able to craft your pipes without issues. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. But anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. We have a lot of projects. I'm still in the midst of working on them, so I hope you guys join me for that. And until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.